Okay, we're starting the exponential unit, and part of the exponential unit is just to kind of do a quick functions introduction. We're going to be looking at domain and range, and just kind of taking a look at whether something is a function when it's in table form or whatever. This should be a review from 8th grade, but I really don't know how far you got last year. So looking at these, if you saw this without all my handwriting on it, and I just don't have time to put all that on there, that's why I start this way, you would just see this table. What you would do, your domain is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, so you would just list it like that. Then you would decide whether or not this was a function. If your x value, the simplest thing to tell you is if the x value does not repeat itself, in other words, it's not matched with with more than one y value over here, then it's a function. So you just look to see, does it repeat? No, that's a function. Come over here and look. This looks a little different. It's not in table form. If you were to write it out in table form, which is what I've done here, you would see that there is a repeat. The -2 is only paired with -32, but this 0 is paired with the -8. It's also paired with a 0. You see the two lines. That means that this 0 repeated, and so did the 4. You see it off right away. So this is not a function. So when the domain, this part right here, repeats itself, then it's not considered to be a function. It's just a relation. And if you were to list the domain, you'd list these numbers. There would be no need to repeat anything. You would just list -2, 0, 2, and 4. You don't need to repeat the values that aren't repeated. And then the range would be these numbers, -32, -8, 0, 8, and 32. Now let's move on to this one. You see that -2 repeats, -1 repeats. This is not a function. You come over here. Now look, all these arrows can be confusing, but just look to see if there's more than one arrow from each number. There's not. That's going to one place. That's going to one. Each one of them is only going one place. This is a function. All right, vertical line test. This is the original function that you see. If you can draw a vertical line through the graph and it only touches the graph in one place, then the function is, and then the graph is a function. And yes, no matter where I drew my line on this, I'm only going to touch the graph in one spot. So therefore, it is a function. If I draw a vertical line here, I'm touching it in two places. It's not a function. And this one is hand drawn by me, but it is a function. This part over here almost looks like it's not, but in all honesty, this graph is coming down more like that. So it would be a function. This one, yes, no matter how I draw my line, is a function. Okay. Now, this is a function. You only look at x values. They do not repeat. It's a function. You look at x values here, the 9 repeats. It's not a function. So the collection of all output values is called the range. The collection of all input values is called the domain. I'm kind of going through that quickly because you know this already. So when you're listing the domain and the range, you just list the x values. When you list the range, you list the y values. And that's simple enough. All right, is this, and then looking at this, it's a graph. Just name the points and then list your domain and your range from the points you've collected. All right, that is it. Thank you.